The bad bugs.
Biocontrols. I don't use any benefit.
Yeah, biocontrol bugs.
I've seen some videos and some posts on the Facebook of people saying released, you know, ladybugs into their house and
Yeah.
mantises into their house. And God bless those people because I don't want to do it. Um, if I run into a bug problem, it's usually an insecticide, a pesticide, or I'll do a cultural control. So fungus gnats, they like a wet soil. I'll let the plants dry out as long as I can. And then that's a cultural control because I'm shifting the environment to interrupt the life cycle.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Switching gears a little bit, if you get
Okay.
a new plant, do you have a little bit of a routine that you do before you introduce the plant into your collection, or do you
I
just
would, but I don't.
yeah
I know some of you, there's a good friend of mine, Soul Sister Plants, Lucretia, who she'll kind of quarantine her plants. Her and Camille, the plant nerd, they've talked about quarantining their plants
yeah
from others because, frankly, when you get a plant from a plant shop, especially one you have never been to before, you don't know what they got. Okay, you
right?
can't spread in your house open to any and everything because you don't know where they been.
Oh, it's
Okay,
true.
that's a life lesson you can apply to other things. I'm not going to tell the people in case. Okay, but the adults, they know what we're talking, you see? So what I typically do is if I've gone to a place that has get left me burnt, we're using these STI language, that's left me burnt by a plant, by some bug, some insect, and I'm like, yeah, never again. And
Yeah,
again,
yeah,
I work to ID that pest, whatever it is, mealy bugs, spider mites. Those are the two I've typically dealt with. And from there, I'll shoo it away. But luckily enough, I've been fortunate enough to not have gotten them from a plant that I've brought in.
yeah.
So
That's good.
any anyways, if there's something that you do, some of you are like, hey, I don't know. You set it in a still well lit place or a place that it can be habitable in, but away from other plants. Let it sit there for a week or two. Look at the plant, really get a deep look. Make sure there's not any craziness popping off, and then once
Yeah.
you're okay, there's not a lot of bugs, go there. But I'm also Wade, one of the people that when I'm in the plant store, I'm rifling through the plants like I own the place because why not?
Yeah,
What
yeah,
they
for
gonna do?
real. Yeah.
What they gonna do to me, Wade?
I mean, sometimes I love the plant so much that I just put it on the shelf. I just sit and look at it. I'm like, I should probably quarantine. But I use the Plantanista, this pest house plant spray that has neem oil in it. So I just kind of spray that down and then give her a good bath, and she's fine. They're all. I don't really have a bug problem. I think too because I live in Florida and it's. I mean, there's so many toads and frogs and birds in here that like they eat the bugs, right? I mean,
They
I'm
would
not
eat.
kind
They would eat enough insects, but I think the thing about you people that live in Florida and California, which makes me sick, is I think your plants can grow so beautifully that you may not necessarily even know. I've been eyeing this. I'm going to call it out. Y'all see how big that monastery is behind him,
of. Oh
and I,
no, this is just a cutting too. It's
I
just like growing.
show off. This is just a cutting, Derek. Ooh, you can't grow plants.
Yeah, I mean, I burnt her a little bit because I left her outside in the sun too much. I mean, Derek, she was so green and beautiful, glowing. Like talking about her skin earlier. Well,
Yes,
your skin, my skin just looks
both of our
greasy.
skins look. Don't do that to your skin. And that place still is green.
But yeah, it's a blessing to be here.
I'm
Yeah,
jealous, but y'all have your plants are able to sometimes outcompete um, and out of and what I'm trying to say here. The environment can be set up in such where the pest may not necessarily have to worry about hiding elsewhere, right?
right.
During winter months, I haven't seen it in a while, but even though this is not necessarily a plant pest, it is a pest to me. Cockroaches, wood roaches, will sometimes run into this place because it's so god awful cold outside. They're like, let me hide in this warm apartment where this human must want me to be in.
Yeah,
Heaven no. So I try to. So that's a different thing that we have to deal with. But I think it's you probably just take good care of your plants, and that's why you don't see them.
I try to. I try to.
You're
They're just my
succeeding.
sweet, sweet babies.
Those
I know. I sell plants, and I just have such a hard time releasing them. I'm like,
I
I'm gonna
don't.
sell you. I'm gonna sell you, and then I just I can't.
That's why I can never do it. People who said, Derek, you should get a plant shop. No, any
Yeah,
plant. care of is now mine. Um, Unless I hate it, like this one back here. I don't think you can see it. This one right here.
Why do you hate it?
This Ficus umbellata is Ficus in general. That genus, outside of like the traditional like purple figs we eat outside, they
Yeah,
are so freaking temperamental. To say,
yeah,
I can't stand it. So my sister bought this plant. I talk about it every chance I get to basically say I told you so. My sister bought this plant and she wanted. I said ficuses are very much temperamental. Gunter's greenhouse in Durham was growing it. Had the biggest, most beautiful leaves. Right.
yeah, yeah,
We took it out. I was like, well, it's not gonna like drafts. She had just moved into her house. She put it into the house and it started when it's like I don't like it here. It'll just drop leaves.
yeah. And how cold does it get where you're at?
In North Carolina, we can definitely get to freezing and sometimes below, right?
Yeah, like numerous days in a row.
Yeah, we can be like 30s in weeks of the 30s, right?
Yeah, yeah, for
But
sure.
it's also sometimes below 70 degrees, 64, 65, 60, we're like 68, 60. So
Yeah,
cold, it was drafty. It was trying to keep the humidity up. I bought it in here. I got it growing. I was going to give it back. I moved it 2 feet to mop the floor. It dropped all its leaves in like a week.
yeah. It's
It was 2 feet.
insane.
It was like from right here to right where the stand is. Two
Yeah,
feet, 2 feet. So I now have it where it's in a state of I'm not going to do anything. I have a humidifier. Sometimes I boil water, and I'll get the humidity up in the whole house. And
yeah.
then, so I hate this demon, and one day I'm going to get rid.
um, Derek, how many plants do you have in your jungle inside?
You want the truth or a lie?
The truth. Why would I want to lie?
I underestimate, and you indoor outdoor
I think all. How many plants you care for?
200 on a good day, 500
Yeah, yeah. I love that.
because a lot of things have died, so it's probably closer to 200. And a lot of things outdoors just haven't came up yet. And I have like a lot of tomatoes in here and other cuttings. So especially once I start propagating, it can go up to 500 because sometimes I do a little too much.
Yeah. Well, and you're always doing something like propagating something or trying something new, right?
To a certain extent, yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of
yeah,
propagations, the trying stuff new. When I work during the day, I would do a lot of repotting. I would try to give like a lot of propagations away. Um, I have family who loves plants. An aunt of mine, she loves plants, and there's a pot I won in an auction. I'm gonna repot some stuff up for her. Some of my church family, they know I plant, so they're like, hey, they'll come to me now. They're like, Derek, I seen this plant, and it looks like this, and I name it off, and they're like, how do you know? They take pictures of plants and send them to me because they want to know what it is and where to get them. So I'm like the local plant dealer, and I love it. So I just take care. It's a lot, and I love it. It makes me happy. It
yeah,
brings me joy.
yeah. I love that. Uh, so with that, do you feel like you have an emotional connection to plants?
I have we just talked about it. I couldn't sell plants if I tried because
Yeah,
I would be like, if it was enough plants, I'd be like, oh, okay. Like I've worked in a place where I grew and took care of, and over time, maybe like a million or so plants, like literal million, and that's a low ball number of plants.
yeah,
So if it's something where it's like, oh, okay, like I'm not going to make a personal connection with you all where I can't stand to let you go. But they all were my children. They were all like, okay, what's going on? How could I fix you? What's going on? Oh, we lost those two out of 20,000. That's a little sad, but it's going to be okay. Like it's something else. And here at home, especially when I'm like, oh no, like one of my children has been,
right.
discarded. Some of my kids are not doing too well. I've moved plants around and rearranged groups to be like, okay, all of you are aeroids. I can flood this area. It'll be super humid for a couple of days, and y'all be okay. This is the snake plants. I don't have to bother y'all as much. So I
Yeah,
I literally love these babies, and each of them brings me something beautiful. Like the indoor beauty is all year. So when I'm sad and down, usually around my birthday and Christmas time, I can be peace. And
yeah,
during my birthday is the summer, outdoors, I can look around at whatever flowers I'm growing, whatever herbs I'm growing, whatever, things I have on the patio, and use those and then talk to other people about them and get some joy out of it. So
Yeah.
they all bring me, and the outdoor ones, seeds from them. I can be like, here's some seeds. Here's some cabbage collars. Take them. Here's a couple
Yeah.
of things. I got them. Like it's something that's beautiful to me to be able to do, um, and how they can bring me joy. So I definitively connect with my plants. They
Yeah.
my children. But when it comes to in a seriousness, there's people who can say like, Derek, you got me into doing something with plants because you gave me my first plant. Now I don't remember
Yeah.
what I gave them. There's some people like, you remember that plant you gave me? I don't
Right.
ever giving you a plant, but because of who I am, and I'm very giving and I love plants, I'm pretty sure I gave you a plant. I'm pretty sure I bought you one, right? And it's
Right.
some way before. So for me, it's literally me saying, I love this thing so much. Let me show you this thing I love, right? These things are so cool to me. These plants are so cool to me. Let me show you this. And whether it's a plant, some people, they'll never take a plant from me. So I'll be like, okay, I'll make you an infused honey with some random herb, right?
Yeah.
They don't take that, and they made like a kombucha. I make kombuchas and sodas. I have scobies.
Yes. Yes. I see this. I mean, you fermented and everything,
I do. I got them. I got some things on the counter right now. There's people who
and
want
they'll
that.
explode. Could be
They
obviously, but
will. I was showing somebody last night these drinks, and I had to put some in the refrigerator because I've had one literally explode. Like I took the top off. It was hot in here. But I used to leave the AC off when I would go to work to save money. And the heat makes the yeast, and be more active. The carbon, the oxide is pressure is wanting to expand out because it is hot. So between like
hmm
and biology, it's just all working together make this thing like a ticking time bomb. So I opened it and it was like this gun. Like if you think of a gunshot, if you somebody shot a gun near your head, that's what it sounded like. And the soda exploded all up the counters, all up the cabinets, and touched the ceiling. It was the craziest thing in the world. And I was so like, wow, that's so amazing until I realized
yeah.
who's cleaning this up, Derek? It's me. Like, all up.
Essentially, what's in it?
So it's depends on what
It's
tea.
a fermenting process.
Yeah, it's a fermenting process. So the ferment is the base is somebody's tea
Yeah.
right? So if I'm making a ginger beer, it's a heavy ginger extraction. I do a lot of ginger. I boil it down. Electrical composter are you're drying something out, and as it's drying out, this one machine, it's grinding it down eventually into a fine powder. They don't really consider that compost, but they say you can now like put it on top as a soil humus, or you can bury it under the soil. I've done some reading on some of these products that I was like, one day I'm about. I dried everything out in the oven. I have my blender here, blended it all down into a dust, and then I added it to my bokashi and or I mixed it into soil that I have. Now, I have to be careful because I do know, again, I'm setting this up to have an abundance of organisms that I may not want. The fungi, the fungus gnats, whatever it is, rummaging over my plants. So when you're setting this up, I described it like a club, but it's also like when you have a family gathering or a party. And there's that one
hmm
friend that never brings nothing, but they leave out with 3 plates. Okay, we all got one in our life.
Yes, we do.
They only bring cutlery. They bring
Right.
utensils they picked up from the Dollar Tree or they had in their car from when they went to the McDonald's. And from there, they leave with 10 plates. The number them went up. And you like, how did I get them here? Because you done put it on the group chat and they in there. You keep
Yeah.
forgetting about the group chat. And when you put all this compost that is this compost edge into your soil, you're group chatting, hey gnats, hey fungus flies, hey mold.
Yeah.
Come and see me.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It is.
But we're seeing it all over social media. You know, the craziness of it.
It is like glitter.
Yeah.
If you touch glitter once in your life, there will always be some amount of glitter on your person and in your house. Um, and it's unfortunate because there are so many people who then spread that glitter because they believe it. And
Yeah.
a person like myself comes through, and I'm like, hey, that's not real because of science. They're like, nope, because my great granddaddy's uncles, nephews, next door neighbors, tomcats, owner told me
Have been doing it
that
for decades.
they've been doing this for 20,000 years, and at